Welcome to the second half of the men's opening round of the Tournament of Glory for 2027. And the first one to come out is Moon Knight. And he takes on Boba Fett in this round 1 contest. And if you haven't seen the first half of the women's Tournament of Glory, make sure to go watch that. It's freaking epic as hell. And we're starting off with Boba Fett's first singles match ever in Lone Wolf Wrestling. Still have no idea what the heck he's doing here. Other than the fact that he was brought in to replace Kenny Omega in the Money in the Bank ladder match of Final Hunt 3 on the pre-show. But the fact that he's even here is just crazy. And it's also been a really long time since the last time we've seen Moon Knight, so it's nice to actually see him again. This is definitely going to be interesting for Moon Knight's first match in quite a while. He's taking on a Mag Nation legend with an updated attire. Just still cannot get over the fact that Boba Fett is here. And before anybody leaves a comment about his helmet, freaking you try making a Boba Fett character in this game. It's a pain in the arse. And since I didn't have a chance to play this game when the servers were still on, I wasn't able to download the guy. There's the fourth wall break for the episode, but you can do it. I did as best as I could. And it's for the most part based off of how he looks in the Boba Fett series, by the way. If anybody was curious. Probably could have done a better job with it, but it's whatever. Definitely going to be interesting to see how well Boba Fett does in this tournament. And how he does in his first singles match. This is the first time he's had a singles match years, to be completely honest. I don't remember the last time Boba Fett ever wrestled in a ring. He did fairly well in that Money in the Bank ladder match. I think he almost won the thing at one point. But this is Boba Fett's opportunity to actually get a shot at the world title for the first time in ages. This is the biggest accomplishment he ever had at TMN was when he won the Royal Rumble twice. And let's get this opening contest in the second part of the opening round underway. And Moon Knight, with a kick to the midsection of Boba Fett, sends him into the corner. Clothesline knocking down the former Mag Nation Royal Rumble winner. 2 times. And Moon Knight just knocking Boba Fett into the corner. Kick to the back of Boba Fett there. And now Moon Knight sending Boba Fett in the corner. Chop at the chest of Boba Fett there by Moon Knight. And I've just repeated elbows to the face of Boba Fett there by Moon Knight. And Boba Fett dodging out of whatever Moon Knight should over there. And Moonlight with that power slam. A body slam, one too. Now Boba Fett with an arm by Moon Knight. And Moon Knight reverses it into a shoulder tackle. And now Moon Knight with a headlock on Boba Fett. Drop toe hold. And now Moon Knight with a go behind on Boba Fett. Into the headlock. Into the body slam. And now Moon Knight picking up Boba Fett. Knocks him into the ropes. Sends him into the corner again. And just more elbows to the helmet of Boba Fett by Moon Knight. Elbow drop there by Moon Knight. Now Moon Knight just slamming Boba Fett's face against his knee. Springboard by Moon Knight, and he missed. They only can tell Moon Knight has been in the wrestling ring for quite some time. And the Bulldog. You know, besides when he's on ART2. Luke says pressed by Boba Fett, and now he's just punching the hell out of Moon Knight. Now Boba Fett picking up Moon Knight. Sends him into the corner. Misses a close on this. Moon Knight moved out of the way. Springboard, which Boba Fett swatted him to the side. Clothesline by Moon Knight there to Boba Fett. Both these guys are wearing capes, by the way. One's a Star Wars character, and one's a Marvel hero, I think. Yeah. And Moon Knight with a fall-away slam there to Boba Fett. Just throwing him across the ring. Now going for cover is Moon Knight. 1, 2, and Boba Fett kicks out. And now Moon Knight going for the moon. I forget what he calls his finisher, but it's his version of Razor Ramon's finisher, which he nails there, Boba Fett. Going for cover. 1, 2, and Boba Fett kicks out again. And Boba Fett with another drop toe hold. I mean, Moon Knight with another drop toe hold Boba Fett. And the knee to the back. Sorry. And now Boba Fett's back up. Into the armbar by Moon Knight. Moon Knight, and Boba Fett reverses into a go behind, just shoves him off. Headlock by Boba Fett. Clothesline knocks him down. And again. Power slam there by Boba Fett to Moon Knight. Oh god, Boba Fett, what are you doing? Really, we're doing this already? We're just getting it out of the way? We're just taking apart my announce table. Thanks a lot, Boba Fett. And now Boba Fett's back in the ring. Colin Neville tapped between the two. It's over 3 minutes into the match. We finally get one of them. In the headlock by Moon Knight. You're it! Freaking suplex hit by Moon Knight. I thought he was going for Uranagi for a second. And now Moon Knight just running the ropes. What is he, Ultimate Warrior? Slave one cutter by Boba Fett there. 1, 2, and Moon Knight kicks out. And now Boba Fett with a go behind on Moon Knight into the Bulldog. Now Boba Fett just stomping away at Moon Knight. Flurry punches there and a kick, and Moon Knight blocks that one into the armbar. Into the armbar submission on Boba Fett there with Moon Knight. Boba Fett manages to get out of it. Kick the midsection of Boba Fett by Moon Knight. Into the body slam. Going for a cover is Moon Knight. 1, 2, and Boba Fett kicks out again. And Moon Knight with a pair of punches into the headlock, and Boba Fett reverses into a drop toe hold. Knee to the back of Moon Knight there by Boba Fett. Headlock by Boba Fett, Moon Knight into another headlock. Sends him into the ropes. Luther's pressed by Boba Fett, and now there's more punches to the face of Moon Knight. And just stomping away at him again. And now Boba Fett rolling over Moon Knight, but Moon Knight reverses over Boba Fett, trying to go for there. And Moon Knight with another fall-away slam there, Boba Fett. And now Moon Knight go for cover. 1, 2, and Moon Knight gets the pin over Boba Fett with the fall-away slam. And Moon Knight moves on to the next round of the tournament. Not a bad showing for Boba Fett in his first match in years. It's a singles match. Probably not how we envisioned how his first match was going to go, but that's how things go. Moon Knight had a point to prove, and freaking, it's just nice to see that he's back. I honestly was afraid that something had happened to him. And Lord knows M. Bison is probably pissed at Moon Knight still, because those two still have an issue when M. Bison turned on Moon Knight ages ago. The next match is Iron Man taking on Poseidon. Another pair of Magnation legends right there. Both of them are former hardcore champions. Moon Knight with the big win in his first match back. It's going to be crazy the rest of this night. And this next match is between two former hardcore champions in the Magnation way back in the day. And also a former tag team champion in this company. And somebody who was challenged for the tag team titles in the past. The first one to come out is Iron Man. Someone who is looking to try and win his first ever singles title in this company. You can see he has never won singles titles, but he's definitely somebody I could see doing that. And this is probably his best opportunity. If he somehow manages to win the Tournament of Glory this year. Which would be crazy if Iron Man managed to pull that off. But he's going to have to get through Poseidon first. And Poseidon might not have the best track record to make singles competition in this company at least, but he's still somebody I wouldn't want to fuck with. Him and Khal Drogo have been away for some time now, ever since they lost that tag team match that they had against Kratos and Leonidas a while back. And we've been trying to reach out to them to try and ask them to come back for stuff, but they've been doing their own things, and especially since Poseidon is the king of the sea, so I'm not surprised he's busy. And Khal Drogo is off leading a whole continent and a whole kingdom with his wife Daenerys. Well, you hardly ever see her around here. She's around. Same with Khal Drogo. We haven't seen him in forever, though. Looking forward to whenever he comes back. But Poseidon definitely going to have one hell of a challenge when it comes to Iron Man, that's for sure. Iron Man is no slouch. And Iron Man's been close to winning a championship in the past. At least here, anyways. And he's, like I said, he's held championships in the Magnation back in the day. He was a hardcore champion, and I think he might have held a different title back then, but I have no clue. All I know, like I said, I do remember that he was a hardcore champion for a while. And he was one half tag champions at this company for a bit with Captain America. after the Avengers defeated the Justice League in that 7v7 match, and Captain America and Iron Man had an opportunity of the tag titles, which they won and held for a little while. And here comes the former Mag Nation Tag Team Champion and a former Hardcore Champion of the Mag Nation, motherfucking Poseidon. The King of the Sea. Well, God of the Sea, but you get the idea. King, God, either way. He ruled the sea. And he got ganked by Kratos in God of War 3. And Ares in Clash of the Titans 2. Poseidon, outside of the God of War franchise, Poseidon's really gotten dicked over majority of the time. Except in Percy Jackson, he was actually pretty cool in that one, even though he was kind of a dick. I haven't read the Percy Jackson books, by the way, for anybody who sees this. I've only ever seen the one movie. The first one, not the newest series and the new movie that has Edge, aka Adam Copeland, in it. Which I need to go see, by the way. I need to see that. It's from apparently what I've heard, it's actually pretty good. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if it's any good. If anything, I only just want to see because I want to see Adam Copeland as Ares. And let's get the second match underway of the second half of the opening round of the Tournament of Glory this year. And Poseidon immediately went near the midsection of Iron Man. And Poseidon already going for the tidal wave. Trevor Nichols' favorite move, and he nails the tidal wave. Going for coverage, Poseidon. Only a one count. Not even a one count. And now Poseidon with a headlock on Iron Man. Suplex by Poseidon there to Iron Man. Poseidon just is all over Iron Man here. It's just crazy when you think about it. I did not think Poseidon was going to be coming out of the blocks like this, but I guess after his last singles match, he wanted to make up for that loss. Also, that headbutt a little while ago by Poseidon, that was just crazy. And Iron Man blocking the chop. DDT by Iron Man and Poseidon. Now he's finally starting to get some offense. And Poseidon, by the way, whatever, I try to go over there. And Iron Man blocks that punch from Poseidon in the headlock. Poseidon with a drop toe hold to Iron Man. And Poseidon is with more punches to Iron Man and to go behind. Into the Russian leg sweep. And slams on him against the ring, most useless move in wrestling. And now Iron Man is pissed. Punched the face of Poseidon, knocking it down. And another one. And Iron Man getting set in the ropes by Poseidon. Face buster there by Iron Man and Poseidon. Kicked midsection as well. Spine buster by Iron Man. Just going full Triple H here. And now Iron Man dragging Poseidon away from the ropes. Going for covers Iron Man. Only one count there. And now Iron Man with the pedigree brought to you by Stark Industries. And he nails it. And Iron Man going for covering Poseidon. 1, 2, and Poseidon kicks out after getting hit with the pedigree. And they ran into each other. Clothesline by Iron Man to Poseidon. And Iron Man just putting the stomps to Poseidon there. Poseidon sending Iron Man to the outside. And now Poseidon with a clubbing, repeated shots to the chest of Iron Man. Just 10 beats of the Balafree. Shout out to Sheamus. And that one just knocking Iron Man off the apron there. Now Poseidon going after Iron Man on the outside of the ring here. And Poseidon with a belly-to-belly suplex to Iron Man. Poseidon really wants to make up for that last singles match he had when he lost. I believe it was against Loki. Which, ironically enough, was in the Tournament of Glory of last year. I believe. And now Iron Man with the suplex to Poseidon. And now Iron Man just punching the hell out of Poseidon on the outside. I almost said Iron Man again. And now Iron Man with the backbreaker to Poseidon there on the outside. That's something they're kind of for, by the way, guys. You might as well want to get back in the ring. And now Iron Man just punching the hell out of Poseidon some more. And now Iron Man's back in the ring. Now Iron Man is taunting, and Poseidon's back in the ring after the ref got to a kind of 6. And now Poseidon, trying to figure out what to do with Iron Man, sets him against the ropes. And he gets dumped to the outside by Iron Man there. This Poseidon. And now Iron Man going back to the outside, going after Poseidon. And Poseidon just knocking down Iron Man with that clubbing shot. And Poseidon sending Iron Man back in the ring. Shot to the Iron Man there, and the boot to the face or helmet, one of the two. And now Poseidon picking up Iron Man into the headlock, sets him against the ropes, sends him to the outside again. Oh God! And now Poseidon with an apron DDT to Iron Man there. If Iron Man didn't already get knocked the fuck out before, he probably is now. And nope, never mind. Iron Man is back up, and now he's back in the ring. And now go behind by Poseidon into the headlock again. Into the neckbreaker. And Poseidon with the repeated elbows to the shoulders of Iron Man. And Iron Man blocks that punch from Poseidon into the headlock. Sends him into the corner. Misses the clothesline. Kicked the midsection of Iron Man by Poseidon. Poseidon, bad time to be taunting, bro. And Iron Man with the suplex to Poseidon there. Look at the strength. Knee drop by Iron Man Poseidon. And Iron Man with just repeated punches to Poseidon there in the face. Punch knocking him in the ropes there. And now Iron Man just dropping Poseidon on the top rope. And now Iron Man picking Poseidon back up. Spine buster by Iron Man. Going for a cover again. 1, 2. And Iron Man gets the pin on Poseidon with the spine buster. Oh, that's one way to get a win. Not the first time somebody's won with a spine buster, but it's just crazy to think they even won with that. But Poseidon came out of the blocks ready for a fight there, and probably caught off Iron Man off guard for the longest time. But Iron Man somehow managing to pull out the win out of his ass there. It only took like 2 spine busters and a pedigree. Iron Man with the win over Poseidon once again, and Poseidon just has not had the best luck when it comes to winning the Tournament of Glory, just like Dante. But Iron Man will face Moon Knight in the next round, and the next match is Captain Pollution taking on Johnny Cage. For once, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm kind of rooting for Captain Pollution, because fuck you, Johnny Cage. Freaking asshole. And also, fuck the Unwashed. Hope the Supremacy kicks your ass. This next contest is Captain Pollution taking on Johnny Cage. Two guys that will have a bit of a history, because these two used to be part of this same faction at one point when Pollution was affiliated with the Unwashed, when him and M. Bison and Joker were part of the group, but kind of. But then again, they split off and did their own thing, I believe. And now Captain Pollution is apparently affiliated with the Supremacy again, after him and Boo and Bojack embarrassed Shadow, which was Bison, Joker, and Sweet Tooth, and clean sweep their asses in Final Hunt 3. Probably the most embarrassing loss I've ever seen happen to Shadow. And they had all this freaking... let's just say their egos took a really big hit. Let's just say that much. They had all that confidence they were going to beat the Supremacy, and then they lost, freaking badly. And Pollution had a hand in that. And now Pollution, who's apparently slimmed down a bit, is taking on Johnny Cage, who's a former world champion in this company, former XC champion in CIW. I almost said TAW. Shout out to CIW and TAW, by the way. And Pollution is a former 2-time intergalactic champion in this company. He's the longest reigning intergalactic champion we ever had. He's definitely somebody who I could see being a world champion if he somehow manages to win the tournament and get this opportunity at the end of it. Pollution is definitely a tough son of a bitch, that's for sure. At least he's tougher than the one that's in the TAW, that's for sure. And here comes Johnny Cage, a former world heavyweight champion. Longest reigning champion, by the way, we've had so far. I haven't seen him in a while. Last time we seen him was like the first time we see him in like forever, when he was involved in that huge brawl that was breaking up between the Supremacy and the Unwashed in the backstage area before the world title match of Final Hunt 3. And now Johnny Cage is back, and he's trying to get an opportunity so that he can get back into title contention. He hasn't been for a world title since he lost that thing, and then he lost the rematch that he had with Jacob Cassidy. Definitely going to be interesting to see this match, that's for sure. Let's get this match underway between these two guys. Like I said before, out of both these guys, begrudgingly, I'm rooting for Pollution here. Even though Pollution's still kind of an ass. But he's not as much of an ass, in my opinion. And back body drop there to Johnny Cage by Pollution. And Pollution picking up Johnny Cage into the armbar. And Johnny Cage reverses into a headlock. And Johnny Cage just a slap to the back of the head and just shoves him off. That's disrespectful. Collar nipple tap between the two. And a Pollution with a headlock on Johnny Cage. Into the suplex. And he nails it. Look at the strength of Pollution there. Definitely weird seeing how skinny Pollution has gotten. He used to be a lot bigger, somewhat. I guess he went back to the shape he was in, and he was in the Magnation. And now with Johnny Cage with kicks and punches there to Pollution into the go behind. And Pollution also dyed his hair papa color that he had in the Magnation back in the day too. And now Cage with just more kicks and punches to Pollution there, dazing him with those kicks and punches. And Pollution with the face buster reversal of Johnny Cage there. I'm telling you, man, Pollution is being smart. I mean, probably one of the better wrestlers in the company. Definitely somebody I could see holding onto the World Championship for a long time if he ever gets a hold of that thing. But it's currently held by Redneck Jay. Elbow to the back of the head of Johnny Cage there. And I still can't believe that Jay's the World Champion. Cashing in Money in the Bank on Damien King after he won the title from Jesus. And Pollution with a headlock on Cage into the neckbreaker. The world title picture is just crazy right now. Johnny Cage shoving Pollution off, kicked midsection into the armbar, flips him over this Cage, elbow to the back of the head. Whatever the hell that was. And now Cage picking up Pollution there, into the go behind, and slamming his back against his knee there is Johnny Cage to Pollution. And Cage with punches and more kicks, just shoving Pollution down there. Double chop, knock him in the corner, and the clothesline to Pollution there by Cage. And now Johnny Cage just repeated punches to the face of Pollution there. And now Johnny Cage picking up Pollution, flips him over again, off the ropes, boot to the face of Pollution there. Going for a cover is Cage. One, not even a one count. It's going to take a lot more than that, Johnny. Go behind by Cage on Pollution. Russian leg sweep. Cage going for a cover again. One, not even a one count again. Pollution is tough. Let's just say that. Armbar by Cage there. Flips him over again. Another elbow to the back of the head. And now Cage with a leg snap to Pollution there. Misses whatever the hell that was because Pollution went out of the way there. Cage swatting away Pollution and trying to go for a drop kick. Kicked the midsection of Pollution there. And now sends him in the corner. Turns him around in the corner. Oh God. And now Cage setting up for that kick to the balls that he likes to use. And Pollution just got kicked right in the family jewels. Which he kind of deserves. But I think it's still. One, two, and Pollution kicks out. Punch, punch, another punch, but there by Pollution in the face of Johnny Cage. Into the neckbreaker. And the Pollution going to the outside. Oh jeez, don't tear apart my announce table again. I literally just had that thing put back together before the last match. Seriously, Pollution? Twice now in one night, thinking somebody's torn apart my announce table for literally no fucking reason. And Pollution there with a punch to Johnny, sends him back towards the ring, and sends him back into the ring, knocking down the chairs over there, right next to me. Elbow to the face of Cage there by Pollution. Now Pollution just wandering around outside. Now Cage is back on the outside. Kicked the midsection of Pollution there by Johnny, who gets sent back in the ring again. And Pollution with another elbow to the face of Johnny Cage. And now Pollution's back in the ring. Johnny Cage is back up. Shadow kick! Super kick there by Johnny Cage to Pollution. Taking his eye off the ball there for just a brief moment. Now Cage drags him away up to go for cover. One, two, and Pollution kicks out again, somehow. And Cage sending Pollution into the corner. Shot in the back of Pollution hit by Cage. Sets him on the top turnbuckle. And now Johnny Cage, oh God. Neckbreaker from the top turnbuckle. The Pollution there by Cage. And slams his arm against the ring, which is this move in wrestling we can measure. Going for covers Cage. One, two, and Pollution kicks out again. Now Johnny Cage sending Pollution in the corner. And Cage with the neck breaker to Pollution. Going for cover is Johnny again. 1, 2, and Pollution kicks out again. And Johnny is just hitting him with everything and everything. And belly to belly suplex there by Pollution to Cage. Oh god. And now Pollution setting up for something here. And Pollution with the shadow kick, super kick there to Cage. Turnabout's fair play because Pollution, just like Majin Buu, likes to steal people's moves. Going for cover. 1, 2, and Cage kicks out, unsurprisingly. And Cage blocks a kick there by Pollution. Boot to the face of Pollution there. And now Pollution's pissed. Cage blocking out Pollution, trying to go for that. Kicks midsection again. Chop the chest there by Pollution. And a drop kick knocking him down twice. And Pollution, jumping clothesline, takes down Cage. And now Pollution dragging Johnny Cage away from the ropes. And now Cage is pissed. Into the armbar by Pollution. Takes him down there. And whatever the frick that was by Pollution there, Johnny Cage. Set up spine buster there by Pollution and Johnny Cage. Oh god. And now Pollution, what the fuck? Going for a figure 4 lock? What the fuck, Pollution? When the freak did Pollution ever use a figure 4 lock? And Johnny Cage manages to get out of it somehow. I don't know why the hell Pollution is suddenly using figure 4 leg lock, but whatever, I guess. Pollution flips him over. And now Pollution setting up for the Force of Illusion. And now Pollution with the Force of Illusion there to Johnny Cage. Drags him from the ropes. Going for a cover's Pollution. 1, 2, Pollution gets the win over Cage. Get fucked, Cage. And Pollution will move on to the next man of the tournament. And he will face either Danny Phantom or Majin Buu, who's in the main event of this and final match of this opening round of the Tournament of Glory this year. Danny, I wish you luck. That's all I can say, because you're facing Majin Buu and he's not one to fuck with. And Pollution is still being a dick to the referee. Mostly because he doesn't like people touching him. I get from apparently what I've been told. That's why he doesn't like the ref trying to raise his hand. And Pollution is just going crazy here. He's freaking ecstatic that he won a singles match for the first time in like forever. And he's just riding a higher momentum since him and the Supremacy are back together. And they beat Shadow. And Pollution is that much closer to getting a world title opportunity. The main event is going to be crazy, like I said, probably. This main event, this second half of the opening round of Tournament of Glory for 2027 in the men's division has Danny Phantom taking on Majin Buu. Danny is somebody who has a very popular fan base, and he's one of my favorite cartoon characters from back in the day. But he has a tough task ahead of him to try and beat Majin Buu, the former Internet Champion, former Tag Champion, former Intergalactic Champion, former World Champion, the Magnation back in the day, former Galactic Champion, former Magnation Blue Champion, I believe, at one point. Dude's won a lot of belts, let's just say that. And he's a former UCT Tag Team Champion. And XCW, I think. And unlike the Boo that we have, there's a Boo in TAW that's freaking on my shit list right now. And here comes the current CIW World Heavyweight Champion and Majin motherfucking Buu. And I know this Boo isn't the CIW champion, but we acknowledge the fact he's the CIW World Champion. So we pretty much gave him our version of their belt, so that as our way of acknowledging it. Boo has been determined to try and get an opportunity in the World Championship. There seemed to have been like some tension between him and Jack 6, especially over the fact that Pollution is part of the group. But ever since what happened at Final Hunt 3 and what happened with Jack 6 getting taken out by the Unwashed before Final Hunt 3's main event, I think the Supremacy has decided, you know what, we'll worry about our issues from the past at a later date. We need everybody that we can get, and Pollution, at least they know, is dependable. At least he was in that 6-man tag match that Boo and Bojack were a part of. And Pollution was definitely dependable when they needed him in that brawl in the backstage area for the world title match. So this is going to be interesting to see if Danny Phantom can hang with this legend and CAW business. Definitely somebody I would not want to fuck with, that's for sure. Boo is intimidating, and he scares the shit out of a lot of people. Especially if you piss him off, he can turn you into candy and then eat you. Which I do not think him ever want to have that happen to me, that's for sure. That's why me and Boo and the White Supremacy are cool. And if Boo somehow manages to win this tournament, hopefully Jack 6 won't be pissed, that's for sure. And let's get this final match of the opening round of the tournament underway. Boo with a go behind on Danny Phantom. Into the suplex. And now Boo picking up Danny Phantom. And now Boo already going for the Boo Ball. And he nails the Boo Ball to Danny Phantom. Now Boo dragging Danny Phantom away from the ropes. Going for a cover is Boo already. Only one count there because he took forever. And Danny Phantom's tough. Knocks him in the ropes here. And Boo setting Danny Phantom on the middle rope. And now Boo with the knee drop to Danny Phantom. And another knee drop to Danny Phantom there by Boo. Now Boo setting up for something here. And now Boo going for the submission hold that Danny Phantom uses. And Danny manages to get the ropes. And headlock by Boo on Danny. Flips him over. Going for another submission is Boo. Trying to make quick work of Danny Phantom here. No way Danny Phantom's going to tap out to this. Danny Phantom is too tough and stubborn for the tap out. Even the Boo. And Danny gets out of that submission. And now Danny with just a kick to the face of Boo there. And Danny with an armbar on Boo. Sends him into an armbar submission of his own. And now Danny picking up Boo into the headlock. And Danny with the suplex to Boo there. And now Danny with a go behind on Boo into the headlock again. And Boo reverses it into a Russian leg sweep. Into headlock by Boo. Now sets him against the ropes. Sends him to the outside. Boo, you're going to do something or you're just going to stare at him? Boo! And Danny tried to go for a springboard, but now he's back to me. Drop kick by Danny there. I don't know what the heck Boo was doing. He was just looking at him. For weird reason. Boo slips out or whatever. Danny tried to go for that into the head. Knocks him down. Close on to Danny there by Boo. And now Boo picking Danny back up. And now Boo with a freaking Olympic slam there. Shout out to Marcus Creed. And Kurt Angle. And now Boo tried to go something there, but Danny Phantom reverses it into a DDT. And Danny sending Boo to the ropes. Arm drag by Danny to Boo there. And now Danny with another Russian leg sweep to Boo. And now Danny picking Boo back up. Now Danny with a kick to Boo there. And just repeated kicks to the chest of Boo. And one in the face. Shout out to Daniel Bryan. Or Bryan Danielson. One of the two. And Danny dragging Boo from the ropes. Going for cover is Danny. Only one count there. It's going to take a lot more to take down Boo, but he might take him down with that phantom knee. Going for cover is Danny. 1, 2. Danny gets the win over Boo with a phantom knee. And with that surprise win and that phantom knee out of nowhere, Danny Phantom moves on to the next round of the tournament and will fight Captain Pollution. Just crazy. I don't know what the hell Boo was doing there when he was just staring at Danny when he was out on the apron, but probably cost him there. That and he wasn't paying attention when Danny was coming at him with that phantom knee. But Danny Phantom was probably the biggest one in his short wrestling career. Over a freaking legend of the business. If you guys like this video, leave a like, comment, all that stuff. I'll see you for the next half of the women's side of the Tournament of Glory, which will be the last 4 matches of the opening round of that side. And then it's on to the semifinals. No, round 2. Actually, no. Round 2, then the semifinals. That's my bad. Anyway, I'll see you guys later in the next video. Peace! And congrats on the win again, Danny. Boo's gonna be pissed though when he wakes up.